So it's kind of early in the morning here at my house, and my whole family, everybody's kind of asleep. I've got my coffee going. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to get done on this Mustang today as quickly as we possibly can. You know, one of the things that I ran into with my Mustang is that I wanted to put a wider set of tires on it, and I've had to do several things to make that happen. And so today I've got to do my front spring mounts for the leaf springs. I did go with a leaf spring suspension, and let me tell you why you keep a leaf spring suspension on a Mustang. Now, some of you are going to go, man, gosh, Scott, are you kidding me? There's no way that a leaf spring suspension can in any way compare to a 4-link or compared to some of these aftermarket suspensions. Let me get you guys adjusted. I would completely agree. I'm not disagreeing to that reality, but here's what I am going to tell you is that you're going to spend a lot more money. Remember, I'm building a car that I can drive. I'm building a car that I can beat up on. I'm building a car that I can go buy parts for pretty easily. These leaf springs, you can buy them for a Mustang. Only thing I did do is I did move the leaf springs inboard of my frame rails. Now I'm using 2x3 inch, 120 thousandths tubing. I built a frame in the back, and I'm going to be modifying that today. And I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you've got a lot of experience doing it. I would run that factory frame rails that you have in a Mustang, and I'd put some subframe connectors in it, and I've got other videos on that. But today we're going to put mine in there. And I ran leaf springs. Even though I ran frame rails, I ran leaf springs because it's infinitely cheaper. Coilover shocks, good coilover shocks are super expensive, really, really expensive. And I tell people all the time that when you find these knockoff coilover shocks, and they're not a name brand, and you've got, you know, you've got these coilovers, and you've got, that you found for next to nothing. Here's the problem. What happens when the shock inside the coilover goes out and you find that was a limited run number of shocks and you can't get it? With mine, I can buy good quality shocks, and when they go out, I just buy another set of good quality shocks right over the counter at my local AutoZone or Napa or whatever. I've got a car I can drive. When you buy a set of coilovers, you say, well, I only spent $500 on these coilovers. They were knockoffs. They were cheaper. Man, I love them. They're great. They're great. But what happens at 5,000 miles and the shock blows a seal and it's squirting out hydraulic fluid all over the place? You go, well, I'm going to go just buy the shock part of that. Well, you can't, because that cheap company don't make those, and the quality of the stuff is not very good, and the shocks don't dampen very good for very long. And so I just find it, for me, for a daily driver, remember, I'm building this car to drive every day. I'm going to drive it in the rain. I'm going to drive it, however I want to. I'm going to drive it. You're not going to see a bunch of videos and pictures of the underneath of my car. Look at the beauty of my mufflers and how pretty the bottom is, because it's not going to sit in my garage. It's going to get mud on it and dirt on it, and it's going to get water in it, and I'm going to run the crap out of it. So that's how it is. I find that if you buy parts that people characteristically run on normal cars, those parts are easier to come by, and those parts tend to last longer as far as daily driving is concerned, and they're cheaper. That's the bottom line. So that's what I'm building, and that's what this build's going to look like. And so without any further ado, let's jump into this, and let me show you a couple things. All right, so this is the front spring mount for my Mustang. These are obviously not factory items. These are heavy-duty items. I bought these from, I think, Rough Industries. It's a four-wheel drive and off-road outlet place. I'll put a link in the description. And that's what these are. It's super thick. Looks like it's 1/4 inch thick, steel, pressed out. That's going to be welded to the inside. So this is going to set the inside of my frame rails, and my leaf springs are going to set in the middle of it. So that'll be my front mount. I did weld a gusset on the front of it, just added a little more support, and just one more place to add just a little bit of strength to it. So anyway, that's what we're going to be welding in today, and let me show you where we're going to be welding those things in. All right, so we're under the car, and I did have to turn the air conditioner on, and you can hear my welder in the back. I hope you can even hear me. But anyway, let me kind of give you an idea of what we're doing here with this spring perch. So here it is. That's the spring perch. That's where I've welded in the frame rail. I'm fixing to weld in the spring perch. I've got it tacked on right there. Got a bolt running through it. I hope you can see that pretty good. That's basically it. That's going to be the front spring perch. Super, super sturdy. And it doesn't look straight from your angle, but it is. It's actually level. The floor's a little off. But anyway, that's it. That's what we're going to be doing over the next minute or two. So I'm fixing to weld that sucker bill in, and we'll see. We'll celebrate. That's what we'll do. We'll celebrate. Okay, so she's welded in. I'm gonna show it to you. My light went out, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get it to turn back on, but my little Harbor Freight light, I guess it's dead. I don't know. Oh, no, the end come undone. Ha! Look at that. You're gonna be able to see it good. Cause see, I knew what was gonna happen. If I showed you that with that light off, you'd be like, you can't weld, which is true. Okay, so that's not a lie. But I sat there and welded until my neck gave out. I don't know if you ever do that, but my melon is so heavy that I can't hold it up. So I held it up as long as I could, but I got it welded in. So I'm gonna let you look at this thing, see what you think. But right this second, I'm just resting my neck because my melon has brought my neck to muscle failure. So anyway, that's where we are. So let me show you this little booger. And all you welders out there can say, that was terrible. And I'll say, you lie. That's perfect, beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So hold on. Let's look at this thing. All right. Let's see where we are. Look at that. Look at that little Jim Dandy, would you? Does that look good? I hope that's focusing. You know, if I don't have my glasses on, which I just took them off for some reason. Anyway, there it is. That's the spring perch welded in. You can see the back side of it. That little puppy's in there. I've thought about running a gusset up to the floor pan, but I don't think I'm going to. I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to have a lot of twist and motion on it, and it's 1/4 inch thick steel. That's probably better steel than they had on it when it was there, and it's welded into another piece of plate steel where I built this torque box myself. So that's the torque box. Hold on, I'll show you. Let me point these things out to you. Hold on, I got to anchor this mic. So this is the, every time I start to say something, I box the back of the camera, which is something I absolutely hate. So this is the torque box originally. This is the one I built and extended it so that I could run these frame rails. So that's what, ow, that's hot. That's what I built. And so this is anchored onto the torque box that I built. I encased my frame rails in steel, so it's got steel plate around it, so I boxed it in, and that's my X brace and all that stuff, and you've seen that. So okay, so here's one side. I've got to get the other side done, and then I've got to get it the rear end back underneath the car, make sure all the anchor points are where they need to be, and then I'm gonna cut some frame rails and drop them down in the back. So, and then we'll do some clean up, paint, and go from there. Now this, I will show you, this is where somebody put a floor pan in it before and just left it open. That's just so ugly. I don't even know where to, I can't even file that anywhere. It's so ugly. So that'll all get cut out. It probably would be fine. I mean, I'm usually pretty easy going, but golly, that thing looks like a drunk dirt dauber was back here, you know, welding up. Which I know, you look at my welds and you're going, oh my gosh, look at those welds. Those things are ugly. But that's 3 passes. That's a root pass and a couple of other passes on top of it. So that's just for thickness and security and awesomeness. So don't gripe. I'm a better grinder than I am a welder. So anyway, let's get going on the rest of this thing. Yes, sir. So what am I doing down in here? So this bar is going to be a shock mount bracket. And if you'll look, I'll zoom in a little bit on that side, you can see how I've put a piece of, I don't remember what size plate it is, but it's plate to strengthen up that joint right there. Anyway, that's going to go across. Now if you look down in here, you'll see there's a little shockaroonie right there. See that shock right there? That's going down that base plate. That base is the factory shock mount base plate, rather not shock mount, it'd be the base plate for the springs for a Ford Explorer. And that shock is, I had to measure it and do a custom one. It wasn't a custom shock, but I had to find the right shock length for it. So anyway, I'm gonna suggest you don't do none of this stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna show you anyway. Now this template, I'm gonna set it in here, and once I cut the back out of it, this little dude here is gonna kind of show us where the shock mount needs to go. It's gonna be something like that, right? And we'll weld this on. This is just tack welding in for right now because I'm gonna wind up pulling it out and I'm gonna weld these on really good. But I'm gonna put them in here, get them positioned right, indexed right, then I'll tack them in, and then we'll have some brackets. So that's what we're up to. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, that sounded complicated, but it's not really. Okay, so let me just show you real quick kind of what I built. I built these brackets right here. These are going to be my shock mount brackets. They're going to anchor to that shock bar that I built. So I've got those already cut to spec and ready to go. In fact, I've already got one set of them already installed in the car. And so let me just show you what this looks like, and then you'll kind of have an idea of what we're looking at. So there, right here, is the shock mounts. That's how it's going to anchor onto this bar. Now you can see that bar. That's my shock mount bar. And that's going to anchor right there. And yes, my shocks are going to be on the front end of my rear end instead of the back like most cars. I like it that way. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, that's so that's the shock mount bracket that we were working on. Okay, so that's probably where we're going to end this video. I didn't quite get the shock mounts finished. We did get the front spring mounts mounted. We got the brackets welded in for the springs. This has been a couple of days of putting this video together. Our welder broke. I had to put a new sleeve and the MIG welder. And if you're a weekend guy or an after work guy like I am, it's just, man, there's just days that just goes like that. And so I'm not going to get as much done as a lot of these guys that just are content builders. Remember, I told you I'm a preacher. This is what I do just for enjoyment. So I won't probably work as fast. We did get a lot done though. So next is going to be finishing up welding in those shock brackets. I'm going to pull everything back out, including the rear end springs and everything. Once I make sure everything's good and aligned, we're going to shoot paint on everything underneath the car. I'm going to shoot paint on the inside of the body panels. The rear end and everything will come back together. We're going to get it where it's a full roller. Now, once it's a full roller, my next objective is getting flooring in the back half of the car, get that flooring completely finished. Once that's done, we're going to go and get the body panels back on the car. I'm hoping to have that finished before the end of summer. That's what my objective is to have the car completely roller. I'm hoping brakes are done. I'm hoping suspension is done. I'm hoping all the underneath paint and the paint that's inside body panels and the paint in spaces that you're not going to see, I hope all that's done. When I say paint, it's probably going to be flat black. Maybe even the dampening in the floor. Maybe I can get that done before the end of the summer. So I'll probably get another video or two out between now and the end of summer. Probably not much more than that. But anyway, that's kind of where we are. If you have questions, remember I still have a whole bunch of lists. I have not done the research to, I have the parts list for a 1970, 6970 fastback conversion. I have the parts numbers and lists for 6768 fastback. I have a coupe, you're a good candidate for a coupe conversion. If you're wanting to do the coupe conversion and you're trying to figure out what kind of coupe to get, I've got lists for that. All of it's free. You've got to email me. My email will be in the description. So anyway, that's as much as I can tell you for now. I feel like this has been a pretty good video. Got some more stuff coming here pretty soon. So anyway, I hope things are going well for you, and God bless you.